Chris had
I got a missent email from a prospective buyer of a used iPhone on like an Italian equivalent of Craigslist.
Did you sell them an iPhone?
No, but I got an email also from the seller after that, which also went to my email address, saying, like, actually, the screen has been replaced, so it costs more now, or something. So we'll see if the guy...
Can you just, in Italian, translate "no one gets a cell phone" and just reply into the thread with that? There is no cell phone.
The cell phone is for nobody.
God, you just start secretly hijacking their thread and be like, the screen is actually broken again.
Fucked.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 50% off.
And then also, just with each email, attach a picture of someone pretending to hold up the Leaning Tower of Pisa for the tourist photo.
No.
Look how strong the screen is.
And it's broken screen.
I
broke it holding up
the Eiffel Tower. This is how the screen broke.
I was in France.
Completely coincidentally.
I was in France showing someone my photo of holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and as I reached out to show it to them, I dropped it off the Eiffel Tower.
20 euros.
See if you can reply into the thread from other email accounts now that you're on it, so then start creating
I too would like this phone.
Right, yeah. Who are you people?
I was here first. This is my phone.
It's December 2nd, 2015.
This is Idle Thumbs 239. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm James Spafford.
I'm Jake Rodkin.
And I'm Sean Vanneman. Whoop, whoop, woo. Merry December.
That's a classic.
Yeah. Hi.
To you all.
Oh, hey, Spaff.
Good December to you all.
Happy things, holidays or something, right? It's a holiday time now.
It's Happy Dishonored PSX.
I don't know. I'm not used to this. Oh, yeah. Is it Happy Dishonored PSX?
Happens on a Tuesday evening in this room. It's very different than Moscone on Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not a lot of fanfare. You used to play on Fallout 4, huh? You're saying
Me? I am, yeah. Yeah.
Any new revelations?
I'm crappy at it. It's the main revelation.
I get blown up a lot as well.
Yeah.
Almost constantly. Like I have grenades falling out of my pockets or something. I get blown up all the time, always, everywhere. Boom. Inexplicably. Just beep, 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 beep. Uh-oh. Like, that's my life. That is my life.
Hopefully on, like, the 70th time that you get exploded, a strange green-haired version of you is seen disappearing off into the rocks, and you have millions and millions of dollars, and it's Nick Brecken.
Oh, yes. God, I was stretched very thin to keep a hold of that thread until the very end.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I read an article today, and they decided to never leave Sanctuary. So they just started a game and then just stayed in Sanctuary to see if they could progress. And this is a nice little story about how they've progressed or failed to progress in different ways. The main thing they needed to do anything was to get more settlers to come to the town, and in order to do that, they have to build a one of those like summoning beacon things. So the first thing you have to do is just cheat to get this one crate that's in your town to spawn this like one specific item that you can break down and get this crystal. So they just loaded a save a million times until they got that thing. And they managed to lure people there, and then recycled everything in Sanctuary, try and leveled up by like building wooden planks stacked really high and then trashing them and building them all again. Just like, it's a weird fun tale.
That's awesome. I have found myself doing whenever I go to Sanctuary, I like always clean up a new area of it. It's like, oh, that's a mess over here. How did I see this earlier? Like, that place is sparkling in my...
Oh, it is?
Game. Oh, my gosh. Everything, I have scrapped literally every tire. Everything has been cleaned up. It is pristine.
I try and do that, but then when you build new stuff, it's just as raggedy as the crap.
I know. I'm like, could I have measured? Like, this is bullshit. Just fucking, find a level while you're out there. Yeah. And or eyeball it. Get somebody to be like, is this window looks askew or no?
Yeah.
You don't want to draw too much attention to your new settlement, lest people think that it's nice.
Oh, I covered mine in disco balls. It looks really good.
I only do the metal curved houses, so it looks like a mix of like metal Tatooine Only the metal curved houses. And I do everything. I build a house, and it's for one thing. So I'm like, this is the sleeping house. And I just beds everywhere. And then I go and like, this is the cooking house. And I'm like, just like backyard full of vegetables. Yeah. Fridges all along every wall. Like, I don't know. I'm going full commune. It seems more efficient that way. Yeah.
It's good that you're having fun with that.
Oh, it's
that part of it.
It chills me out.
It's fine. Every now and again, I go there and do something. I'm like, why am I doing this? I should just go and wander around the wasteland.
My answer to that question is so I don't have to get killed. Like, that's literally it. So I don't get exploded or have a beefer run into me with a mine in his hands, which happened the other night.
The beefer.
There's those beef dudes down in like, in the first city, in Diamond City, whatever. Those beefers.
I haven't been to Diamond City yet.
Don't go.
There's beefers there.
There's fucking beefers there.
They'll get you.
There's ruffians who just want to shoot you. There's mines everywhere. Your dog.
Yeah, that's fair. I got a quest to go there, and I went there and just seemed to be guarded by people who wanted me dead. So I was like, okay, I'll just...
Everybody loves you in Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like God to them. You provide them with melons.
Houses
Here, I have seeds to plant potatoes.
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 Did they ask you what they are?
Potatoes.
Did they ask you what it is? What's potatoes?
I planted them,
Actually,
and they all died. I was like, come on, guys, you got to look after these. These are hard to find out in the wasteland. You know, just
always got them at
abandon
that farm.
Yeah, that's true. That one farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just keep taking them.
That weird robot farm. Have you found that robot farm?
I wish it was easier to find people who are like the vagabonds. When you know what I mean, the people who are just wandering. The people who are just wandering the world. There's like whatever, like Trash Can Sally, or what's her name, with the two-headed thing.
That's probably it. Whatever.
No, it is. Her name is very
that.
similar to like it's like it's like Garbage Pail Carla or something. It's like something.
It's definitely that.
Yeah. Wow.
But like I wanted to go. I knew she had stuff. Like I know she's got all that stuff. She has so much stuff. And so I wanted to
Feces Jessica, something like that.
Poop Karen, you know,
Toilet Bowl Sue. I don't know. That.
Yeah, her.
Yeah.
These are all actually different canonical characters that you can find through some of the many colorful characters players might discover.
This is one very unpleasant town in Fallout 4.
This is actually Fallout 6.
It's one of the stranger, post-apocalyptic cults of this world.
I think that it's actually the Fallout 5, their new Vegas is Poopwater, New Mexico. Where it takes your city, Skyline City, and builds a Fallout settlement out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think this woman's name is like Trash Can Karen or something. I can't remember.
Anyway, what's her deal? You just wish you... I just want to hang out with all trash cans?
Well, I was around early on, and she's like, hey, what's up? I got stuff. You want to trade? Let's do this. And she's got this two-headed cow that follows her around with all of her stuff on top of it.
Brahmin.
Big. What?
A Brahmin.
Brahmin, yeah, whatever. And I've been wanting to, I don't know how to get her to come around. They're like, I saw her in Sanctuary, and I was like, oh, she's over there. And like, oh, but let me finish doing this thing first. I go talk to her. Gone. Instantly gone.
Yeah, that's the big part of that guy who's like, right, I'm going to stay in Sanctuary's thing was like, at some point a trader will come. But he's like, I don't know how to get them to come here. They're not turning up. He's just waiting and waiting and waiting for them. So he has a plan to build a shop in his town that hopes that mean they will come and trade with that person.
I want to know how that stuff actually operates under the hood.
Like the weird systems.
Yeah. How is that stuff being tracked? How is that?
Do you think they just randomly spawn when you spawn in the world or something? And when you fast travel, they
Truman Show nucleus of all the things that can happen. It's sort of like, boop, oh, it's over that hill. She'll come over the hill here now that you've arrived. Or she got her own thing going on. I don't know. I find that stuff to be really fascinating. But also incredibly annoying when I just want to fucking hang out with her. Or
that's
buy
the kind
some
of thing you
her.
can probably game fag.
Oh, I know.
How do I find the goddamn trash can?
Where is Trash Can Sally now? Question mark. I'm feeling lucky. That I'm feeling lucky button doesn't work anymore. Is it
even there?
It's vestigial. It shows up on the homepage of Google, but when you start typing anything, it automatically takes you to the results page. So that button is just there so people feel comfortable with the look of the Google homepage.
Oh my goodness.
I think if you turn JavaScript off, it still works, but I don't think it does the same thing that it used to do or something. Or like if you click it now, without pressing a search, it just takes you to like some about Google page or something. But yeah, if you,
I thought it was just a random page on the internet.
it just random rolls any old page.
Tells you where Trash Can Sally is.
Yeah, so it intuits from all data on your computer what you're most interested in.
Yeah.
It might be.
And then for most people, that's the current location of Trash Can Sally.
Useful information.
Or Shit Alice or whatever those names were.
Shit.
Rubbish Bin Liz is the like English transplant in
Rubbish
that
bin.
town.
Rubbish Bin
Bin Elizabeth.
Yeah.
A humble gutter snipe.
Did you guys see?
trash
Have you guys
talking.
encountered? Have you guys encountered that character Dance?
Paladin
Yeah,
dance?
yeah. Who sounds exactly like, to me, like George
Clooney.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he sounds
totally.
exactly like George Clooney.
Yeah.
The guy who plays him must also just be a professional George Clooney. Like,
A professional George Clooney.
Period.
I mean, well, so that's okay.
Do you mean he is George Clooney?
No, he's not. I looked him up. But like, okay, this actually isn't why I brought this up, but just separately, that's apparently totally a thing. Like, if you look or sound like a particular celebrity, that can just be your job.
Oh yeah.
There are like professional Angelina Jolies and like professional.
Yeah, the guy who played Marty McFly in Telltale's Back to the Future games does like a spot on Michael J. Fox voice, but he also does a spot on Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow and kind of has enough of that look that he just is a fake Johnny Depp or was for a long ass time.
Yeah. That's just a thing that you can like be represented by an agent for.
Yeah, sound alike stuff.
Yeah.
And look-alike.
And look-alike.
They got one of those Johnny Depps to be on Nathan for You. Have you seen that show? It's super good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Go watch that.
Man, speaking of, okay, so a reverse version of that. Did you guys see the video where Adele impersonated an Adele impersonator?
Oh, yes, I did.
And then like went and fooled a bunch of other Adele impersonators at like some kind of like private event they held for themselves. Seemingly.
Yeah, it was like an Adele impersonation like contest for the BBC or something.
Yeah,
they all knew that like they were going to be picked as the best one.
Right, and then it like became obvious she was actually Adele, and they all like melted. It was so
the
adorable.
moment she opens her mouth, it's just like they all just yeah.
Anyway, so in this the character Dance, who to me sounds like George Clooney,
Paladin Dance.
Yeah, to a lot of people, apparently sounded like Buzz Lightyear. Which I could see. Like once I sort of saw that, I'm like, oh, I can see it when you hear him. And some modder made a modding like a mod that allows you to equip him specifically with Buzz Lightyear power armor.
Yes,
that's just like the like pastel green and white,
perfect,
and like little decals on it.
Yeah, because he's usually wearing that power armor like the whole time. He's never out of that.
Yeah,
shit.
It's
never
really,
takes it off.
It's really good. It's a hilarious looking dumb thing that someone just made for some reason. You have to go through all this bullshit to get him to wear it, like to that particular armor, because it like doesn't spawn on him. Like you have to get it some other means, and like.
But it was the power armor that I guess could be textured to look the most like Buzz Lightyear's.
Yeah, exactly.
Spacesuit.
Pretty close.
It's good.
Pretty good.
It's good.
Good.
So I guess that's Fallout 4. I played Superhot all the way through actually yesterday. If you guys remember that game, this game was released as a free. I don't remember what it was. A Game Jam game, I guess.
Yeah, we talked about original Superhot back on the.
Yeah,
we talked about it a couple times because we talked about it when it first came out. We talked about it when it kickstarted.
That's right. So I didn't realize that it was already at this point where it had sort of a full campaign, but it does, and I played it yesterday. I think right now you can play it if you're a Kickstarter backer.
I think a certain tier of Kickstarter backer.
If you back the Kickstarter at a certain level, you can play it. It's really, really, really cool. It's like it's the kind of concept where you could imagine. It's a Game Jam concept, and often Game Jam concepts are really, really great for the length of the Game Jam game, which is usually a matter of minutes. And then sometimes you think, oh, wow, this is actually really brilliant and probably robust enough to stand up to like repeated kind of iteration and kind of variation for a full length game. And this game is not like what I would call necessarily a full length game. I think I probably played through the whole thing in like an hour, but it's awesome. So the concept of Superhot, if you're not familiar with it or don't remember our previous discussions, is that it is a first-person game where time progresses at an incredibly slow rate while you're standing still. And then as soon as you move, while you're moving, time progresses at a normal pace. So essentially it gives you not quite unlimited, but quite a lot of time to kind of look every angle around you and then fire your gun or swing your sword or punch a guy or move. And then while you're doing those things, time like quickly speeds up. And then as soon as you stop moving, time slows down to a crawl again. And so it kind of combines the feeling of sort of a tactical turn-based game, but puts it into perspective that those games are never in, which is first person, and then combines it with the kind of chaotic things going all around you, like very kind of amped up feeling of a first person shooter. And they, in this more complete version, they just continually build on that in a way that doubles down both on the first person frenetic kind of experiential side and also the sort of puzzle like tactical side. Like the thing is so cool about it is that a lot of levels almost feel like puzzles. It's like, okay, there's this many guys all around me and, you know, this many of them have guns and I know that when I kill these two guys, another guy's going to come out from behind this other place. And if I haven't managed that, there's already going to be a bullet that is so close to me that as soon as I start moving, it's going to hit me. So how do I plan ahead now next time when I die to keep that from happening?
Do you find that you play through levels over and over again and end up optimizing a playthrough? Like, does it
only until I succeed, and then when I succeed, I just go to the next one?
Because it's funny that I've seen video of Superhot, but I've never played it, and it since it's a first person game and you're moving around, and everything is animated, it has the feeling of a really active experience. But the way that you describe thinking through how you get through a level reminds me of playing Hitman Go or Lara Croft Go or something.
Yeah. That's what I mean about this sort of tactical turn-based part. I guess those aren't really tactical games; those are entirely puzzle games.
The turn-based puzzle,
but it has. Yeah. But yeah, those are good. Those are good touchstones, really, because they both involve only one like player avatar, as opposed to a tactical game.
And those are also games actually where when you move, everything else moves.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
But they all move one turn unit. Like if you move in Hitman Go, all the guards go and shuffle the same distance that you do.
Exactly, and it does kind of have that feeling. But the thing that it also has that a pure tactical or puzzle or turn-based game of any kind doesn't have is it still has that amazing feeling that a great first-person shooter of a certain kind has. And I'm thinking of games like Fear or Halo or games where your direct physical interactions with other players or NPCs feel very physically substantial and where kind of action and opposite reaction are really significant. So in this game, when you get up close and just punch a guy, just a close combat attack, and he's holding a gun, he will kind of get blown back by the force of your attack, and then his gun will fly out forward, and then you can kind of snatch it out of the air. And
because time is slow enough that you can precision target it?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you get these little bursts of speed, because when you punch the guy, it's quickly this burst of real time.
That was a question I had. So when you execute the punch, the duration of the punch, time runs as normal or something?
Right, exactly. Yeah. But then as soon as you're done executing the attack, it slows down again. So it almost feels like, I mean, this is
it's like a good version of Zack Snyder.
Exactly, yeah. It's like
speed ramping.
Whereas that stuff in his Zack Snyder movies is so frequently just gratuitous and kind of meaningless. It's just, it's just totally sick to slow down time and speed it up again. In this game, it actually has real meaning and weight because it's directly related to your moments of decision and impact and reaction. Like it has the kind of stylistic effect of that, but also there's this really like weighty feel behind it, and it's really substantial and kind of ends up sort of elevating everything you're doing because you get both the thoughtfulness of the slow kind of take your time, look around phase, and then also like the really satisfying impact of stuff happening in real time. It's really, really cool. And the feeling of like realizing there's 3 guys around you and then grabbing like a vase off the table and chucking it at one guy. And then as it leaves your hand and time returns to slow motion, turning around and shotgun blasting 2 guys. And then as that happens, as time speeds up, as you let out your shotgun blast, during the time speed up, the vase will fly through the air and hit the guy you hit before, and then his weapon will fly out of his hand towards you, and then you discard your like potentially now empty shotgun, grab that other gun out of the air, and then shoot the guy straight in front of you who's like running at you with a sword. And it's just, I mean, it's the most like, it's completely gratuitous in terms of just violence and chaos and like sort of bloodlust, I guess. But it is so clever and well put together, and just the particular combination of these elements is just totally unique. Like, it's just, what other game is like this? I don't know. It's really, really cool. And I wish it were longer.
Do you get to watch it all in real time at the end of the level?
There's a replay. Cool there's a replay that just goes through. I don't even really usually watch it because it's never as cool feeling as the actual experience of doing it. But it's there.
It's fun to see.
It's good that they have it there. Yeah.
It's games like that have that execution. It feels like not just the Hitman Go stuff, but actual Hitman games where you feel like you've performed this perfectly timed, intricate thing.
The difference is that in that game, there's not really the same kind of physical action reaction simulation. There's the action reaction of these sort of macro systems that are all going on, the sort of AIs walking around and you planning your strategy and sort of the combinatorial results of that. But there's not the small scale, like hit the guy, like as you hit the guy away, his gun flies towards you in equal opposite, force, like that very tiny micro stuff, which is why I bring up games like Fear or Halo, because that stuff, that's what's really satisfying about a first person action game when they are really satisfying in that way. And it's really cool. And I don't mean this to like downplay Hitman or first person games that are not about that. Obviously, it's just that this is, I feel like that property of first person games has not been as, there was kind of a great era of that style with, again, Halo and Fear, which both came out in sort of the, I guess, early to mid 2000s. And obviously they're still making Halo, but it feels like that's less the focus in first person games now to some degree. And it's really cool playing something that has that, but also is totally evolutionary. I mean, this is not a rehash of anything. It's really cool. The story is very, what is the game with the animal masks and you murder everyone?
Hotline Miami?
Hotline Miami.
I was going to say Hotline Miami before you even started describing it, because it just Superhot seems like the sort of game that would have a Hotline Miami-esque story.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like that in that sense of the game sort of just bathing in its kind of violent craze.
And then sweat.
Yeah, exactly. But less grimy just aesthetically, because it's this very stark white and red visual style, but the narrative overlay is pretty cool, I guess. I mean, like the conceit of the game, and this is introduced at the very beginning, it's not a spoiler, is that Superhot is actually superhot.exe, which is a like crack that you use, like a server crack that you use to remote into some like corporate server or something, and then the thing that happens when you do that is you play this crazy game that is Superhot.
So it's a weird Matrix type situation almost.
Yeah, and it's kind of it has similarities to Hotline Miami and sort of there's the theme, and I don't know. Like,
does it have like bad MIDI music, like an actual key gen?
No music in this at all, actually, which is really
makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That'd be so hard to like.
Oh, I just meant if like the main menu had like a shitty like Baroque meets electronica,
like a Where's
like a key gen or something. Like if you run Superhot.exe, it just goes no, like just some like.
They have stuff like that in. You can like browse around the directory structure a bit in the game, and there are a few little things like like that, but not.
I think
not that much.
the clay game Invisible Ink, you can buy like hack upgrades, and they do have shitty keygen music that plays inside the game, and you get them, which
that's
is
so
really good.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
My friend used to write that music. Some of that music.
You used to write music for keygens?
Yeah.
Oh man,
back in the day.
that's really funny.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, Superhot is really, really cool. I wanted to play more of it when it ended.
Oh, yeah.
So hot, it's cool.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Do they have a release date?
I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Their Kickstarter emails do not center around one that I've seen. I backed it. But they seem like they're getting close. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's too bad that game is not playable by a lot of people yet. I mean, their prototype is, I guess, if you want to just a taste of what it's like. But it seems like the thing that this new version is doing, that they're like doubling and tripling down on, is all of that sort of kinetic person-to-person contact stuff. Because Superhot, the original one, was way more about like, it felt like it was basically a game of that scene at the end of the first Matrix in the hallway when Neo does bullet time, where there's just guys at the end of a hallway and you dodge their shots and shoot them. Like, that's basically what the original Superhot was.
And this game still has that. And my suspicion is that someone who was more interested in the gunplay could probably play this game and just optimize their play towards that. Unsurprisingly, based on what I've just said now, and people who've listened to this podcast for a long time and have heard me talk about Halo and stuff, that's I love all of that really close up,
tight,
kinetic,
crisp melee stuff.
Yeah. And so that's, and I was just totally shocked by how much this game exploits that stuff to really great ends. So yeah, I loved playing all the way through it. I played all the way through it in one sitting, and it was great.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I could use a break.
Let's take a break.
I was about to say that what Chris said was super cool, so it's good that we're going on a break instead of me saying that.
I was going to call it superb.
You said super
hot.
cool?
Video game. This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by MeUndies. MeUndies provides all kinds of extremely comfortable and very stylish underwear. They, in fact, do a monthly style, and the December style of MeUndies is basically incredible.
I'm trying to buy it right now on my phone. It's very good.
It's like a Christmas sweater.
Like a needlepoint Christmas, like Nordic blue and white pattern. I don't know how to describe it, but you'll know when you see it immediately. It looks like a Christmas sweater, but on your boxers.
But it does not feel like a Christmas sweater on your bottoms.
No.
How does it feel?
Some would say it feels like wearing nothing at all.
I'm not so sure I want that, but
it feels better than nothing at all.
Fair enough. If you go to MeUndies.com/thumbs, you can get 20% off your first order, plus free shipping in the US and Canada. That is always the case. Money back guarantee, always nice to know. Not that I think you'll need it. But MeUndies.com/thumbs is where you'll go for 20% off.
It's important to wear festive underwear at Christmas. It's very vital.
If the thing about, like when you're in an uncomfortable situation and you imagine everyone naked, if that doesn't work for you, you can step it up by not having to imagine, but knowing that underneath your pants you have an amazing festive pattern that probably is way cooler and more festive than anyone else.
Get these for your entire family, and then you can imagine them wearing a very specific print and cut of underpants, because you will know exactly what they're all wearing. Yeah. Don't think too hard about that, because then it'll come back around and get weird. But if it's a confidence building exercise,
it'll totally chill you out on Christmas morning.
It'll totally, you'll just be like, oh, everyone's wearing that Nordic sweater.
I can totally handle this difficult family situation.
The difficult family situation will be helped because everyone will be feeling so weird about knowing they're all wearing literally identical underwear. That nobody will bring up like Donald Trump or whatever.
You got a very stern letter.
When your whole family gets stuck through some enhanced airport security and you're all stripped down to your Christmas MeUndies in front of everyone, think of how confident you'll feel.
You can purchase these yourself at MeUndies.com/thumbs. Video games.
We're back.
Are we?
I guess we are.
I'm here.
We're back.
So I recently also played through another game that was a one-sitting kind of start-to-finish experience, which was Cibele by Nina Freeman, which came out, I guess, about a month ago maybe at this point. Mm-hmm. And I actually played through it, I think, 2 weeks ago and just as often happens on this show, we ended up talking about something else instead. But
do you remember how Cibele is spelled?
Yeah, Cibele. I'm pretty sure. And I would have expected it to be pronounced Cibele, but I guess the developer Nina Freeman pronounces it Cibele, so that is what it is. This is a game that is seemingly extremely autobiographical and you play from the perspective of Nina Freeman, the designer of the game, as she is, I want to say 19 or so, maybe younger than that, and is playing an online game where she sort of has a group of friends and kind of begins a kind of adorable, naive relationship with another kind of just MMO playing dork in this game. And I really liked it. It's a very, very it's very unguarded, and that's kind of the thing that makes it feel true. Like when you're playing through the game, you're basically clicking through this very, very, very simplistic version of an MMO where really all you're doing is just clicking, and your character attacks enemies, and then the guy that you're playing with, his character's walking around the screen attacking enemies, and you're both just doing this, and you can't lose or do it wrong. You just kind of click forever. And then in between those segments, you're just on her computer's desktop, and you can browse through all of her files and chat logs and pictures and emails and all these things. And you're just following, these months in her life as documented through her online correspondence and her experiences playing this game with this guy over like Skype or Ventrilo or whatever, online, whatever voice chat they're using. And the thing that I think works about it is that it really nails the very naive kind of inexpert communication that these two people have in what is essentially both of their first real relationship. And also, so that, and then also the way that people talk on when they're voice chatting online with people they've never met in person, and how it inherently has this very stilted, weird sort of exploratory, tentative tone. She and I guess her current boyfriend, who isn't the guy depicted in the game, portray these two characters as, voice actors. And that stuff just really felt really honest to me. I never had a relationship that started in an MMO, but I definitely played World of Warcraft for a while with people who I only knew through the internet for about 6 months, and eventually got to the point where I would be voice chatting with them. Some of them were people I knew in real life, and some of them weren't. And I just, I'm sure there are people listening to this who have much more significant MMO experiences than I have in that regard. But even my kind of brief period of time where I was doing that made this game feel really honest and authentic to me in that way. And it was very easy to kind of imagine how the convergence of a young romantic relationship and that kind of tentative online communication would merge into the kind of experience in this game. And the other thing I really like about it is that it portrays a relationship that is the guy in the relationship neither of them really know what they're doing, quite honestly. And I like that the game is compassionate. The authorial voice of the game feels humane and compassionate towards both of these characters instead of implicitly condemning either of them for being shitty because they just kind of didn't know what they were doing yet because they were young and idiotic, which is just how everyone is, below a certain age, especially in romantic relationships. I have mixed feelings about some parts of the game. I don't feel it's 100% successful in every respect, but I don't really care to drill down into that, because I think that the most significant things that it tries to do, it succeeds at doing. And I think it's a really novel, really interesting, very sort of charming and well put together thing.
Yeah, it sounds really sweet.
Yeah, it is really sweet. Yeah,
I'd definitely like to check it out. It makes me feel really nostalgic for that period of
it will make you feel, if
time,
you have any grounding in this stuff, it will make you feel nostalgic as shit for it.
Yeah.
I just downloaded Emily is Away, which just seeing the presentation of that game, which takes place all over AIM. You're just like AOL Instant Messenger, you're just IMing with the game. You're just IMing. That's what the game is, and it's free on Steam. And I haven't played it yet, but in that terms of like nostalgic for that moment of time, was like, for most of us, it was like college-ish and after or before-ish, like that sort of whatever, 8 years to 8 years. I had that same feeling, and it's exciting to me that there's
World of Warcraft came out 11 years ago.
Yeah, it came out. Yeah, I guess I was definitely in college.
Yeah, I definitely spent way too much time on the internet back then.
Yeah,
it makes me sad for the internet now.
Yeah,
there are people. Don't worry, Spaff. People who were your age then have taken up that mantle in fucking force. So there. Don't worry, it's okay. The internet still has young people.
But no, like I'm super nostalgic for that time. Like I know Jake because of the internet. I'm here. I know you because of the internet.
Yep.
All of y'all.
Yeah,
sort of relationships through that
my
thing.
period when I was in the sort of phase this game depicts, I guess, existed before World of Warcraft did. But for me, that the games would have at that time would have been like StarCraft, weirdly, and games of that era, which had chat rooms that weren't part of the main game, where you could sort of develop those relationships, because it would have been difficult to like have those kinds of communication while playing StarCraft, which is such a crazy game. But
my most weird sort of like my most potent aesthetic memory of that era of the internet, I was at UC Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
And it was walking home from class on this like a really foggy winter evening, and then walking through like a quad in one of the sort of big 60s cement dorm areas, like classic 60s university things, and just hearing the AOL Instant Messenger system chimes blasting out of someone's window and echoing across like half of the university. Because, like it was the era when people had like iMacs were really new, and like all those like all-in-one computers that had sound cards and broadband was really new. So everyone had just way bigger computers in college than they should have. But it also meant that idiots just turned their speakers all the way up. So yeah, you would just hear ba-da-doo, like doo-doo-doo, ba-da-doo, like, and it was just instead of like
AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah,
that was the lord of that period of time.
Yeah,
in a way that I guess Facebook is now.
Yeah, but Facebook doesn't make wacky, overbearing chime sounds. They can reverb. I mean, it makes little tiny ones. It makes little.
I feel like if your account is still active and you haven't looked at it in 6 or 7 years,
AOL Instant Messenger,
yeah, or maybe longer, 10 years. If you're able to log in to your account and see the giant list of offline friends,
oh, you can. It's great. I have the same.
That's like driving by your childhood house or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually finally. Oh man,
what is Guybrush, whatever?
Yeah, fucking Guybrush tea.
God, the other
spelled wrong, but I stopped using it because of Slack. But yeah, I was on AOL Instant Messenger consistently on the same user account from like 5th grade up through.
Yeah, me too.
Up through this job when we got Slack, and it made me not sign on to AIM anymore, which is a bummer. But yeah, you'd occasionally just see like friends who at one point when you were able to link your AIM login to your Gmail, people did that. So then sometimes when like friends from
I never did that.
I never did either. But
in early OS 10, their chat.
Yeah, it is so strange to see screen names from 1997 just go boop and pop up on your buddy list. And you're like, wow, Dominic Green.
Man, my AOL is it's now been a couple of years since I signed into it, but when last time, I only ever had one username, and it was the same all those years. And the experience of it for me was basically just slow death to attrition of just slowly, fewer and fewer people on my list would ever be logged in as they would just move on to other servers. But I never replenished it because I never met people who are like, "Oh, let me give you my AOL."
It stopped in college for me.
Eventually winnowed down to a sad.
Yeah, I left it on because there was a few people that I still used to talk to it. But then it would be like, "Whoa, there's that guy who did textures on that Quake 3 mod that I worked on. I didn't think that guy existed anymore or whatever." Yeah. But you don't message them when you see them sign on. That would be weird.
Man, speaking of driving by your childhood house, the other day I was over Thanksgiving. I was in the town where I grew up in San Diego, and I drove the car that I had in high school, which now my dad just has, through my old high school, and it was
what?
It was really weird.
Like through the actual school.
Yeah, no, well through
the middle of the school
you fucking
parking
blew
lot
open the gym doors, peeled out of the fucking basketball
listening
court.
to Smash Mouth.
I actually drove all the way back to the along this sort of staff and maintenance only roads that go to the football stadium, and so which I'd never driven on before, and it felt very transgressive because that never would have been possible,
right?
When I was there. But it was it's just an open campus, so I just whatever. It was a weird feeling. So nostalgia talk on Idle Thumbs.
So that's Cibele in a nutshell. It's like getting in your old car that your dad owns and driving down the staff road of your school, but like the internet version of that.
Right.
Whilst hearing AOL chimes in your ears.
Yes.
It's weird. I turned on the radio and it kept just making these AOL chimes. It was very strange.
I think
was just starting
saying,
blind.
ICQ style.
That was a semi-charm kind of life.
Oh,
sounds
God.
a lot like AOL chimes all organized together.
Did you see there was a Christmas mouth sounds special?
A Christmas mouth sounds special? No.
Well, you should enjoy that then.
If I search for Christmas mouth sounds special, will I find it?
Probably. It's by Niel
Cicierega?
yourself.
Cool.
I know how to say his second name, even though I've known him on AOL Instant Messenger for like 20 years.
I remember the way I originally knew of Niel Cicierega, who I guess is how you say his name, who made mouth sounds and Potter Puppet Pals and a million things that are super famous, was because I was part of the Adventure Game Studio community, which is a suite of game development tools for making classic style point and click adventure games. And he was on there as well, I think. And he remixed the Sam and Max theme into like a disco version. And I knew that was the one piece of his work that I knew. But I think he was then like becoming famous on the internet.
Yeah, Jake and I then hosted his animation site on Mix and Mojo.
Oh man, yeah, that's hilarious.
Which was at one point vaguely related to LucasArts because he made a Simon Jeffrey, the then president of LucasArts, Flash animation, but then quickly turned into this beast.
Yeah. And then also became really popular on the internet.
What was it? What was it called?
It was called Animutations.
Yeah, Animutations. Yeah, they were amazing.
Weirdly enough, let's just bring this as far back around as we can. Niel Cicierega is currently working on an AGS engine-driven point-and-click adventure game called Icon Architect 1.0 that is about... You play a woman who's an assistant at a graphic design firm doing sort of like Susan Kerr-style early Macintosh icon design. So the game is all about like... It's got a... it just looks like an office with like teal carpet and drop ceiling, and it has like the paint, like the like sketchy paintbrush illustration from those paper cups on the wall as a print and stuff. Like it doesn't look wacky and mouth sounds. Like it looks like he's trying to do a really nice thing. But anyway, so this guy who Spaff has known for 20 years on Instant Messenger, who Chris met on this message board, is now making a game about retro computer interfaces.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's called Icon Architect 1.0, and I'm really excited about it.
That makes me think of that game someone tweeted you earlier, which was the deck building game.
Yeah. A deck building game about actually building a physical
like a deck on the back of your house.
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
I would totally play that game.
Yeah. We should get that and play it.
Yeah.
But that's real?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's a real thing.
Someone sent a photo of it.
There were some people replied to me when I said, this is actually an interesting theme, I think. Some people replied and said it's actually a really good game. So
I'll get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what it's called?
It's called Deck Building.
The deck building game is so good.
Okay, good. Variety grab bag on Idle Thumbs this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Featuring deck building.
Speaking of which, time for reader mail. So, Let's see. Abaya Hess writes, Hi Thumbs, longtime reader, first-time mailer. Last week's reader mail about limited-time GTA demo challenge runs reminded me of something similar I used to do many years ago with a friend of mine. One of our favorite games at the time was Quake 1, which we played excessively. After a while, we got bored of just playing through the game normally, even on harder difficulties, so we came up with the idea of doing specialized challenge runs. We would take turns trying to clear the first level of the game on the hardest difficulty, but with severe self-imposed restrictions. For example, you can only turn left and strafe right, no shooting allowed. This was possible since you didn't necessarily need to kill any enemies to finish a level, only survive long enough to touch the teleporter at the end. Whoever wasn't playing would act as a sort of game master who would judge the progress of the player so far and reward or punish them by bestowing or withdrawing capabilities. So if the player was able to get past a tough section, the game master would say something like, "Well done, you can shoot 3 times," or "That was sloppy, no privileges." Before long, we had organically developed a cartoonish overlord villain persona for the game master role, which became almost more fun to play than the actual challenges themselves. We would spend hours hamming it up as the overlord, coming up with harder and harder challenges, sillier and sillier villainous things to say, and laughing hysterically. It remains to this day one of my fondest gaming memories. Thanks and keep up the great work. Abaya.
God, Quake was so good for doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
How do I have the time to play that much Quake? God damn it.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. That really reminds me, I think we maybe had a mention of this on the show ages ago, but did you guys, when you were kids, ever play telling games or games that were sort of effectively pen and paper RPGs, but without any RPG rule sets whatsoever? No. When I was in elementary school, I had never heard of RPGs. I had never heard of Dungeons and Dragons or any of those games, but my friends and I were introduced by someone else to basically that concept, but just literally the game master.
They'll just describe what's happening.
Yeah,
and you say what you're and they just decide that they're going to tell you what happens as a result. No dice, no.
Right. This sounds like that, but with augmented with just this totally arbitrary.
But
system
also you have Quake
is just there. Yeah,
good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
We used to play games of deathmatch or Quake with limitations like that were fun. Like, you can only use your mouse, but you can rebind whatever the hell you want onto that mouse, or you can, you're not like rebound the buttons to go forward.
That's really good. Yeah,
that kind of thing.
God, is it possible to rebind it such that to go forward you have to actually move the mouse forward? So you just have to do the endless pawing at the.
God, yeah, it would be, because the mouse look up, down, left, and right were bindable commands.
Mouse look up, shoot.
God, that's like how a little kid might imagine that you're supposed to control that. It's like you slam the mouse towards the screen.
Exactly, yeah.
Reload
or how it's
on
actually
back.
Controlled in one of those shitty 3D peripherals. Imagine how much easier it is now that you can just jerk your hand at the screen to shoot the gun. All right, so Lewis or Louis, I don't know. Right?
Oh, sorry, I have to back up for half a second. You describing that makes me think. Talking all the way back to Superhot, I wonder if there is a Vive demo of that game, because that game is a game where your movement is actually mechanically super relevant. And
I don't know if you'd want to walk all the way through that game, though.
Is the amount of space that the rooms take up really big?
There are levels that are multiple stories, and
Superhot would be a perfect game then for someone to do one of those the slightly increasingly in vogue, super expensive VR build-outs where you basically buy a warehouse, build a black painted Superhot level, and put someone in a Vive.
That would be intense.
Yeah, that would be hardcore.
That would be bonkers. Yeah. Wow.
Superhot Live.
Yeah. That would be an amazing installation.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
Sorry. Getting shot at in VR is really scary to me.
But imagine if you could just stop moving and then see the bullet an inch from your face and really freak out. Ugh. Imagine if you punched a guy and when you
shot at and it was real spooky. I did not.
Yeah.
So Lewis writes, Good day, gentlemen. Love the cast. Thanks for all the great work and insight. I just finished From Earth to Pluto, where another listener wrote in to recount his GTA demo story. It reminded me of a meta game some friends and I had invented to prolong our enjoyment of GTA 3. 1. Activate the cheat where it's called Moonbeaming. Step 1.
You have me.
You have to have a name for it. That's
activate the cheat where you change the skin of your character. Pick the heavier fellow with the Hawaiian shirt, which we nicknamed the Loafer. 2.
Sweet.
Wait, what's this game called?
Moonbeaming.
Moonbeaming with the Loafer.
Yep. Morning show. 2. Get a hold of a Moonbeam, the van that looks like a GMC Safari.
Right.
3. Turn on the radio station featuring Moonbeaming with the Loafer. No. Actual step 3.
What?
Proceed to beat people to death with the aluminum bat to raise your wanted level. 4. You may run from the authorities, but only on foot and in the original Moonbeam. You cannot use any other weapons, only the bat. And
an alternate Moonbeam.
Yeah.
Nope, only Moonbeam.
And you must continue to wail on people as you run. That's it. You go until you die. Anyway, thanks again for the time.
I want to play this so bad now.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
GTA 4 or whatever. Or 5.
Be the schlubby guy with a van and a bat, and you have to keep beating people up. That's really good. I'm glad that writing us with your improv game inside of a game is a thing right now.
That one is the one that has tickled me the most. It just feels the most sort of complete to me. In a way
it's like the tiniest. Like you've got The Lost and Damned, you've got The Ballad of Gay Tony, and then you've got Moonbeaming.
With the Loafer.
With the Loafer. Yeah, that's the Grand Theft Auto, like, whatever, Vice City Stories, or Liberty City Stories, Moonbeaming.
With the Loafer.
Yeah. With the Loafer. Anyway.
Gay Tony and the Loafer.
I can also just... hearing him describe it gave me, like, 1% of the enjoyment of what it must have been like to play it, or you know what I mean? Like I just felt it very
man. You know what I want to see? I want to see an official Rockstar Games trailer for GTA 3 Moonbeaming using the Van Morrison song Moondance. You know they always use actual licensed songs for their trailers. That would be what I want.
I thought you were going to say that you wanted to see the modern Rockstar style trailer for Moonbeaming. In Moonbeaming, players control the Hawaiian shirt character known as the Loafer. Players must get in the van, the Moonbeam, and pick up an aluminum bat.
The player may use no other vehicle.
Right. When running, continue swinging your bat to maintain your star rating.
It would have some like grandiose. You can run over 1,000 square kilometers. Right. It would have,
the entire city is available to you and your Moonbeam.
Yeah.
As the Loafer,
as fast as you can.
Yeah, those are the two official Rockstar trailers.
Bat and run.
The Moonbeam is capable of traveling at up to 45 miles per hour.
The radio is stuck on the easy listening channel. Yeah.
All right, so continuing this theme, Claire Hosking writes,
Good.
G'day, Thumbs. On the topic of demos and playing games in unintended ways, back around 2001, I downloaded a demo of Civ 3, probably from downloads.com.
Classic.
It seemed to be a fully functioning game, but it was locked to a certain number of turns. Knowing that it was possible to crack games, I opened every file it came with, stumbling on a text file that had names of different units and a bunch of numbers below. I found that by changing the numbers, I could change what turns different units were available to research and use, how many things I could do per turn, etc. I started by slowly increasing things because I didn't want to cheat too much, but soon I was giving myself stealth aircraft in the first turn with extremely long range, getting rid of the fog of war almost instantly. While I didn't figure out how to break the turn lock, I extended what I could do per turn to the point where I could reach victory conditions before the lock kicked in, colonizing the whole board before the other civs had even researched cavalry. I assumed this would bring me glory and my civilization would remember me well. However, when the game would end, my citizens only remembered me as Claire the Meek or Claire the Fair, never Claire the Great or Claire the Magnificent. No matter how many wonders I added, it seems the ungrateful plebs either took it for granted that their civilization was just that good, or possibly resented my empire colonizing and culturally assimilating them through what they knew were cheap tricks. I don't think it was intended, but it was a subtle and backhanded encouragement. It was a more subtle and backhanded encouragement to buy the real game than any DRM I've ever encountered. In retrospect, perhaps this is the closest I've seen any god game represent how gods are portrayed in myths and legend, working incomprehensible beyond the rules of the world and thus frustratingly unappreciated by the humans they help. Anyway, keep up the great cast, and please don't tell Soren I tried to pirate his game, Claire.
Yeah, that was pretty heavy.
Good email, too. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Really nice. Oh.
John Coughlin writes, Hey Thumbs, in 7th grade I discovered the demo to Operation Flashpoint Cold War Crisis, which is since remembered as the original ARMA after a split between publisher and developer. I can't remember if any single-player demo missions existed because I spent all my time connected to the multiplayer missions on GameSpy through dial-up internet. GameSpy had a chat room that was filled with 30 to 50 regulars, so through my months of playing the game I developed a familiarity with their handles and skills, the best snipers, the best flag capturers, the chattiest teammates. This seems insane to me now, to spend months after school logged into the chat room of a single demo, but I had no money back then, and I think I'm nostalgic for a community as laser-focused as they. The only game mode I remember on the demo was a capture the flag mode with both teams starting outside a small town. The small town bordered the ocean on one side and a good sniping hill on the other, and I could probably still draw you a map of each house and their door and window placement. I eventually bought the full game and loved it, and all the Phantom Pain talk this fall got me thinking of the parallels to the original Operation Flashpoint/ARMA. Both are huge, systemic, open-world Cold War military sims with lots of crawling, Cold War military sims with... lots of crawling, hiding in bushes, topographical maps, misdirecting enemies, and player choice and eliminating high-ranking officials. I haven't played any of the newer ARMAs, but I revisited ARMA Cold War Assault a year ago, and the game design still stands up. It's available on Steam for pretty cheap. Thanks for the great podcast, John Coughlin, Stoughton, Wisconsin. That's pretty cool. I had a similar experience that I think I've mentioned on this podcast before with a Quake mod called Chapter Honor, which was a Warhammer 40k total conversion.
Oh, you've talked about that.
Yeah, and it was only ever, as far as I know, it was only ever released as a demo. Like, it was intended to ultimately
the team will make a full mod one day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, this is the demo of Chapter Honor. But the demo of Chapter Honor was played by probably a few dozen of us for years. And there were chapters which were effectively clans. And I still remember what most of the clans were called. And like, I just knew every single username of everyone who played those games. And all the clans had their own shitty websites that we all made. And it was... Did you make the website for your clan? Was that part of how you learned how the web works? I had a clan for a while until...
What was it called?
Yeah, names.
I actually don't remember what mine was called. But the reason is because... the reason I don't remember what mine was called was because I kind of let that clan kind of just die on the vine when I was invited to join the Night Lords, which was like the actual like badass clan. It was like the top tier clan. Yeah. And so I kind of just stopped paying attention to my clan. It was a fun time.
What was your clan called, Jake? Were you ever in a clan? Ever?
No.
Wow. What about you, Sean?
I was in a couple of Warcraft guilds. I was in a Gypsy Cab Company, and then I was in a guild called Is a Dirty Docker. I can't remember if I was with what I was. Can't remember the order. With my patronage to those, but they served me well.
I was in a Quake clan called the Concrete Sheep, and I know
the Conquering Sheep or the Concrete Sheep.
Okay. Concrete.
I have no idea why.
Like a sheep made out of rock.
No, like concrete. Yeah, rock.
Yeah, like you pour a mold.
I know, and we paid a really good skinning person. Rorschach was his name. I think he went on to work on. I can't remember now.
Tests.
No, like when all the modders went off to work on like.
Right.
He probably worked at Raven.
Yeah, I think it was Raven.
Like where everyone went.
Anyway, he made like a
splash
sheep.
damage depending on what country he was located
got a skin. That was funny days. Probably paid like $50 or something for a skin of a sheep with a Terminator eye.
I found a lot like it's funny like there's a lot of like survival a lot of the survival games that have really, really expressive player verbs now, like Rust and the ARMA 3 mods, the life mods for ARMA 3. People are making their own games inside of there quite a bit. I remember it starting with DayZ, like
of course.
All sorts of games happening inside of there. Just in the people creating games instead of the demos.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate version of that.
How much of a random passerby's humanity can you strip away?
Exactly. All of it? Maybe most? It's like Ollie was playing an ARMA 3 mod called Altus Life, which is now like...
Oh, yeah. He talked about that on the podcast.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
And he talked about getting... he was a drug dealer. He was playing as a drug dealer. Okay. That was a good story. Go back and listen to that. Find it on the forums. I don't know what episode it was on.
So I guess we'll close it out. Trevor Johnson writes in about shareware Dukem Nukem. He writes...
Good.
He writes,
the Duke of Nukem breed.
Hey guys and missing gal, miss you D-Slice. Hearing your talk about shareware demo experiences reminded me of when I was younger, playing the shareware demo of Duke Nukem, the old side-scrolling early version. I was probably 9 or 10 at the time and just barely understood how to operate our DOS computer. I'd found a bunch of floppy disks at my uncle's and was intrigued by a disk labeled Dukem Nukem in black Sharpie.
Exactly right, Uncle.
Yeah.
I eventually got it working and played it for many hours, always wishing it were longer. Eventually, I lost interest and moved on. Years later, I realized I was playing the shareware demo only. The disc actually had both. I was just a dumb child, and I didn't explore the disc further.
It was a pirated Dukem Nukem, apparently.
Yeah. Years later, I did a similar thing with the spawn mode of Diablo 1. I assumed the multiplayer version was just only able to have 2 dungeon layers for some technical reason. Trevor Johnson. Good stories. I'm enjoying all these. This was like nostalgia blast episode, I suppose. Cool. Well, thanks for listening to Idle Thumbs. If you enjoy this podcast, please tell a friend. We have also all kinds of other shows at idlethumbs.net. We have shows that go up pretty much all week long at this point, which is nice. You can send us email at questions@idlethumbs.net. We're on Twitter @idlethumbs. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/idlethumbs. And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Chris. Oh. Do it now. I have a hole in my shoe that goes all the way to my sock. Bad discovery. It's really bumming me out.